Yo, what up? In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, James and I, we are going live. We are live here on YouTube. And in this episode, we're just going to answer questions. No plans. We're just going to answer whatever questions you may have. We're going to share our thoughts on last night's NBA draft. We're also going to talk about the second round, which is about, we got about what?
Two and a half hours.
Two and a half hours, a little less than 2.5 hours to go. Let's talk about the big news of yesterday's NBA draft. That was all the trades. Like, what was the trade that caught you by surprise?
It was definitely New Orleans and Atlanta. Giving up a 2026 pick is
Yeah.
very risky, especially considering where you are in the West. Zion's health. 2026 draft looks strong. Really, those three guys that you're aiming for, and could be some movement, could be some surprises. There are always some surprises, but that was a really risky move by New Orleans. But we had talked about this earlier. I mean, you don't know how the lottery is going to shake out. The worst team doesn't always get the first pick or even the second or even the third pick. And as hyped up as the 2026 draft is, there's going to be somebody who we think is going to be a top 10 pick. Probably going to enter the portal. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. All right, we got our first question. Desmond Terry says, basically he's asking us, what about the Orlando Magic draft pick, Jace Richardson? I mean, to me, it's the ideal situation for him. I don't want to say he's from Florida. He's from Denver, but his family's been based in Miami the last few years. He fits what they need as far as outside shooting. They were a team that, coming into this offseason, I was like, they need shooting. They addressed that with the Desmond Bain trade. And then with Jace Richardson, they ended up getting an additional shooter, a guy that can play on and off the ball, doesn't need to he doesn't need to bounce the ball. He doesn't need to, when I say bounce the ball, he doesn't need a bunch of dribbles. He doesn't need, a whole lot to get going. And so with Jace Richardson, Orlando, I think he complements Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. He can play off Desmond Bain. So I actually like the pick. I like the pick there.
I love David Heath said, I love my Charlotte Hornets. City always, forever. I have loyalty in my DNA since 1988. Now I'm 50, and I'm not going anywhere. So you was there for the Kenny Gaddison days.
So, David Heath, I lived in Charlotte briefly, 2013, 2014 season. I was working with Chris Douglas Roberts. I went to nearly every Bobcats home game from January. I didn't make the playoff games though, but that was a fun season. Al Jefferson was unstoppable that year. And that was a team, but just a team and an experience that I'll never forget. I just really enjoyed watching this team struggle to stop Al Jefferson. They knew he was getting the ball in the same spot every time, and he just had too many counters, too many moves. And that was a fun team to watch. Josh McRoberts, Kemba Walker,
Gary Neal.
All right, here's a question. Well, I guess it's a statement. Grizzlies will go up to the early second round and draft Adu Thiero. I mean, yes, I agree they need dogs, but where do you think he fits at, James? Where do you think he would fit in that rotation?
I mean, he's a power forward, essentially, because he can't shoot, and he's a slasher. So, I guess you could say he could play next to Jaren Jackson when they play Jaren Jackson at the 5, and maybe he's a, slashing small ball 4, but, he really doesn't stretch the floor at all. But, the dog is there, but there's some other dogs in this draft with the Memphis pick. Maybe they can go with Jameer Watkins. I don't necessarily think they need a dog. They do need some shooting.
They they made a trade for Cedric Coward, so
right. But you still need another knockdown shooter.
Yeah.
I believe Luke Kennard is a free agent. So, my man Josue Gonzalez.
What up, Josue?
Do you guys believe Hanson Yang is in a good situation in Portland? I think he will be in a good situation once they move off of DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams. You have to think that that's in their very, very near plans, considering that they just drafted Hanson and they drafted Donovan Clingan last year. But, we are Hanson Yang believers, and it's just good that the rest of the world is seeing it. I've been, seeing his highlights all over the timeline. Dude, who do you like, Ace or Trey, better for the Wizards? Go ahead and answer that one, Rob.
Win-win. It's a win-win. I think Trey is going to be the Wizards' leading scorer. I think he's going to slide right into what Jordan Poole did. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough question. I know I'm supposed to have answers, but I think it's a win-win.
All right, I'm gonna flip it on you, Rob. Who wins Rookie of the Year, or who finishes higher in the Rookie of the Year award? Ace or Trey?
Trey.
I'm gonna go Ace.
I'm going with Trey simply because who is going to take shots from him in Washington?
CJ McCollum's gonna take shots from him in
Who?
Washington. CJ McCollum for a while.
Yeah, but CJ's probably like, you know what? I'm a vet these young boys up. I'm gonna let them. I'm gonna let them rock.
He can say that, but CJ averaged like 20 last year. I'm not ready. He's not like Chris Middleton washed and Marcus Smart semi-washed. Like CJ can still go. I really see him trying to get his bucket still too, because you got to think, that thing plays out. He's gonna get traded. So,
Yeah,
in position to get traded, you got to show that you still got some juice. So, I think Ace is in a position. I mean, think about it. Isaiah Collier is probably a starting point guard. Isaiah Collier wants to pass. Who knows what they do with Lowry at the two? Excuse me. You got to think Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. I mean, Jordan Clarkson may not be going anywhere, but Sexton is likely on the move in some capacity. So, Ace Bailey's got every opportunity to win Rookie of the Year. I think Ace Bailey landed in the ideal situation too for a game.
yeah. I still am going with Trey. I'm still going with Trey. All right, let's see. All right, man.
Hold on, hold on. We're trying to get Kobe Bryant. Will he get drafted? Yes. If
Yes.
so, where? I have no idea. I mean, the
I
second
mean,
round
there's some
is
teams
crazy.
that need some shooting. I think there are some teams in the second round that could target a specialist, and that's what he is. He's a specialist. He's a sniper. Oh man, let's see what team would be a good fit for him in the second round. Hey, I mean, Boston. Let's see, Philadelphia could use some wing shooting. Detroit at 37 could definitely use some wing shooting. The Raptors, who are like second to last in the NBA in three pointers made, could use some shooting, especially going with Colin Murray Boyles. I mean, by him having a defined skill set, I think that he's going to go pretty high.
Next question, Raf. Do you think Yegor, Trayor, or Seraph will start at PG for the Nets?
There's a question: who
All of
do
them,
I think will start, or do you think?
all of them will start together. Let's say this: who wins the point guard battle right now?
You got to go with Yegor. You can't take him number 8 and not start him. I just think, especially on a rebuilding team, I just think that's the politics behind it. You got to go with Yegor. I mean, based off the roster today, do you go with Yegor, Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, and I'm forgetting somebody.
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
based on the
you
roster
go with
today,
Dayron Sharp at the 4.
who knows? I feel like
Danny Wolf.
come April, Yegor and Trayor will be starting together.
Do you think the Magic should trade up for Maxime Reynaud? Yes. Yes. He gives them a 7-footer. He can shoot. I mean, I would have taken Maxime Reynaud very, very high. I would have taken him in the lottery. And if you've been listening to this podcast for the last 2 months, I've been saying Reynaud's been hiding in plain sight. And yeah, he actually fits Orlando. I think that makes a lot of sense there. Again, you got the size, you got rebounding, you got shooting. It just depends on what they do with Wendell Carter. And my man Goga he's a free agent, right? No, he just signed last year.
No, he just signed. I don't know if they need a third 7-footer. If I'm Orlando, I mean, yeah, he gives you a different look, but if I'm Maxine, I'm like, I'm not really trying to go there. Like, y'all can skip over me. There's a better opportunity for him to play. If I'm Charlotte, if if I'm Maxime, I'm like, please, Charlotte, you guys got what, 33 and 34? Please take me.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. All right, here's
Uh,
one.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you answer this. We talked about it in yesterday's episode. The question is, can I hear your thoughts on what the Pelicans did? I thought it was mad reckless. You from
All
New York?
right. So I feel like the Pelicans made a move thinking that they're not going to bank on um, being trash next year or putting all their fate in the hands of unpredictable ping pong balls. Um, Ask me, would I trade a 2026 pick? Probably not. I'm a huge fan of Derek Queen, but I think that 2026 pick is like gold. And I personally wouldn't have done it. Now, drafting Fears, drafting Derek Queen, and let's eliminate. I mean, it's hard to do it, but you can't eliminate that they gave him unprotected 2026. And also, I don't think that Milwaukee pick is going to be. I think Milwaukee's a playoff team next year.
You think, yeah, it should be a
Giannis is
playoff
too
team.
good. Giannis is too good.
Yeah,
But from a basketball standpoint of the guys that they have drafted, I mean, like they do have need for a point guard, even though they did just trade for Poole, and they needed some front court depth. So, and you almost need an insurance plan for Zion because who knows. So from a basketball standpoint, the guys that they drafted make sense, but giving up that pick was a really really risky move, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite Joe Dumars in the butt.
yeah. Me and James are live from the Barclays. I am in the arena. You can see behind me. To be honest with you, it looks like they tore down the set from yesterday. So I have no idea where the second round is going to be at. I mean, it is completely torn down. So we got a couple hours. I guess we'll figure out where the second
Right.
round is going to be at.
I'd be on that 10th floor like they had last year. I don't know where the
Hell
10th floor
man,
of Barclays is, but
yeah. I feel like last year they were like in a hotel room, just
yeah,
sitting somewhere in Times
hard.
Square. They
All
couldn't.
right.
All right, hold on.
One.
I'll let them know that James is here too.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
I didn't leave James. James is in the media room. If James tilts his head to the right or to the left, you can see
Yeah.
the NBA draft. Okay, look at it. He got the backdrop. So we are in the building. Like we bringing it to you live,
All right,
live from the
Robert.
Barclays.
What if any 7 footers will be undrafted?
What
Think
I don't
about
understand that question.
it. Will
What?
any 7 footers? I'm gonna just interpret for Mr. Downs here. Will any 7 footers be undrafted?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's
Nope.
some 7 footer out there that put his name in the draft that ran out of college eligibility, that's draft eligible. But you
Right.
know what? You know what's crazy? And I'm gonna get off subject here. One of the saddest things in the world to see, not well, I shouldn't say that, saddest thing in the world. There's other things that are more sad. But one of the saddest things to see from a basketball perspective at the NBA draft is seeing the guys that are here. They didn't make it to the green room. They're dressed up. They got their suits on. They got their jewelry on, and they're sitting in the crowd, and they don't hear their name called.
Yeah. But I
That's
think there was a couple guys that probably shouldn't have came last night. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't want to say that because you never know what's gonna happen. But at the same time, like I saw a player who's probably gonna get drafted today, and he didn't get drafted, and he didn't look like he was devastated. He signed
yeah.
autographs, fans were he's interacting with the kids, like, and to me that's still a good moment for him. And hopefully he gets his opportunity today. Um, what do you guys see Phoenix? Who do you guys see Phoenix targeting with trading for 36 with the whole roster being shooting guards and centers?
You know what I wonder?
What you wonder, Rob?
I wonder, even though everything I'm reading, I'm saying they're gonna keep Jalen Green, but I wonder if he's rerouted somewhere.
Well, the trade isn't finalized till July 6th,
Yeah, I wonder if he's rerouted somewhere.
but you still
'Cause
have
right now that roster isn't balanced.
a bunch of shooting guards. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Grayson Allen is still on the roster as a shooting guard. Bradley Bill's definitely a two. You could try to play Booker at the one, but
It's like the opposite of the Blazers. Blazers got all centers.
Well, I
They
mean, shoot,
drafted two
but
traditional 7 footers back to back.
the Suns have they drafted Mark. I mean, they drafted
Yeah,
Malama,
they got
and then they just traded for Mark Williams. So, and they still got Nick Richards. And I
Yeah.
feel like a Plumlee, Eubanks. Now Eubanks plays for the Clippers, but I feel like Plumlee still plays for the Suns. Like they got a bunch of guys too. So
They
with that
picked
being
up two
said,
centers in like 20 minutes.
yeah, that's
Not
crazy.
even 20 minutes. It might have been 10 minutes. They picked
And
up
they
two
both play
centers.
the same way. I mean, Malawat is supposed to shoot more jumpers,
But
but
I thought Molly Watt should have been Mark Williams' replacement in Charlotte. You know what I mean? How their
I
teammates.
wouldn't have left for.
Let me
That's
answer. Houston is looking to buy some late second rounders for cash considerations. I don't know if that's
uh,
a statement. Who would Houston target? Maybe backcourt depth,
shooting.
shooting.
That's a
Yeah,
Chaz Lanier, Kobe Brea
yeah. Chaz Lanier, Kobe
situation, in
Brea.
my opinion. But
Maybe they
if
go with my man late John Puda. I can't pronounce his name. John Tanji. That's not who I was thinking about. I was thinking about
you talking about my
yeah,
man from Yale,
yeah,
shooter, yeah.
yeah. John Tanji, I think could be an option. I mean, he definitely has to be plug and play. I mean, he's 24 years old, so he has to be plug and
He's a
play.
veteran.
Yeah, he has to
He
be plug
steps
and
up.
play. He might be one of the oldest guys on the team.
All right,
Sorry,
he's OG.
they might be the same age. Like, hey, Rook, I'll get my
Right, they
bags.
call him Unc. Who do you think the Hornets would target with their two early picks? One of them better be a center.
Yeah, you got to go right now.
Do you think?
You know what? I mean, well, let's just be real, man. Based off of their draft from yesterday, it's got to be Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Oh, it has to be Ryan Cochran. If I'm Ryan Cochran, I'm not even here. I'm in Charlotte right now, trying to figure out what's going on. Do you think the Sixers should go Rasheer Fleming at 35? Rasheer Fleming will not be there at 35, but
I mean, I hope not, but I mean,
I can't
he's from
foresee
the
him
area. He's from
at
Camden.
35.
Their practice facilities in
Okay.
Camden.
So if he's
I think
there at
it's fine.
35, yes,
Yeah,
but I don't think he'll be there at 35.
yeah. I mean,
Like
Charlotte
if you're Charlotte, you got to take Rasheer Fleming,
back to back.
Kalkbrenner, one of those two. How much
Hold on, let me
upside?
read this one.
Go
I
ahead.
didn't like the Hornets draft. Been a fan since Larry. Okay, Larry Johnson. It seems like the Hornets are now competitive from the media standards because we got white is me or is the meat what? Translation. He thinks that the Hornets won some fans with the media because they selected two white players. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Seems like the Hornets are now competitive from the media standards because we got white. Okay, got white. Period. There's no period there. Is it me or is the media saying the Hornets can't win? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Unless they get white.
Uh, how that's funny. How much upside do you feel CMB has? And will the Raptors regret not drafting Malawach?
Well,
I wasn't.
CMB better be in the lab working on that jumper because I think his I think that he's gonna have to be able to shoot the ball.
He was gonna
Be
have
able
to
to
be
be
able to
like a
shoot the
starter.
ball, regardless of where he was drafted. But he really has to be able to shoot. In Toronto, what you said, they were I know they were bottom third in 3-point makes, and I mean, who are you relying on? Grady Dick to make threes? Now, granted, quickly didn't play the whole season, but and he is a very good shooter. But at the same time, like that's not enough.
I mean,
Scotty
that's what they
shot a lot of
drafted Jacoby
threes.
Walker for, right? He's supposed to be able to shoot threes.
Supposed to,
I mean, that's supposed to be the appeal with him.
yeah. Their best shooter last year was Ochai, I believe, at least on percentage. Uh,
Second to last in the NBA. 3 pointers made.
will the Raptors regret not drafting Malawach? Maybe.
I'm still shocked by that. If there
Why
were
do you
like five things that like blew my mind, that was one of them because I thought that his floor was
My
Toronto at
main
nine.
man, Lawrence Goggins. Should the Cavs
Shout
trade
out to
up?
Lawrence Goggins, man. He's
Right.
always been a big supporter. He's always retweeting, man. Shout
Shout
out
out.
to Lawrence, man.
Should the Cavs trade up to get one of those guys that slid to the top of the second round?
Yes, they need Thero. They need some toughness. I feel
I mean, they
like
already got a guy that can't shoot
I know, but they just
on
need
the
some
wing.
toughness. They got some nice guys on that team. They need some toughness.
I mean, if that's the case, you just go draft Jameer Watkins. He gonna bring all
Yeah,
the toughness.
I mean, one of those dudes. You need somebody that's tough
Yeah,
or
go
physical.
draft Jameer Watkins,
I mean,
man.
there's got to be somebody available that is not afraid to use their file. So
All right.
you know what's
Not
funny?
too, hey, not too fam. Shout out. I know what set you claim. Not too fam. NT. How you feel about Kasparis? Can't wait for his pick and roll with Bam and Ware. I think
Mm,
Kasparis landed in a really good spot. 20. Really, it's cool to go a certain number, but it's even cooler to go to a good spot. And Miami needed point guard play, and I think that it complements his skill set because I don't think he is the person that you want leading your team. Because I think Bam is going to handle the rock, obviously, and Hero's going to handle the rock. So like his decision making should be a lot better. Those turnovers should come down because he won't have as much responsibility of setting guys up. I
I got a
know
question though.
what's up.
You think Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are going to be looking at Yakachonis and Hero like
Oh, 100%.
my
Hey,
turn?
hey, you think
Your turn.
Davion? Hold on. Do you think Davion Mitchell in training camp is not guarding Yakachonis full court?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I
could
know
be trouble.
Davion Mitchell was an unrestricted free agent, but he played decently last year. And
That'll be trouble.
yeah, so I mean, Kasparis is in a good spot, and he's still gonna have to work. But uh,
I think he's in a good spot. I think Miami's in a bad spot. Miami took the best player available,
who
but
was you? Who? I think Miami could have took Jace there though, and said, forget
I
it. Like
mean, all right, pick you. All right.
I think Jace.
Defensively, I think they're not going to be strong in that. Miami probably should take. I mean, I got to see where they're at in the second round. Jameer Watkins, I
Is a
think,
Miami dude.
perfect in Miami.
I
He's
I
tough as nails, no nonsense. He wants to get downhill. Jameer Watkins seems like that type of guy that Miami puts in their heat culture, and then all of a sudden I mean, everything just changes for him.
I think I think Jameer Watkins is I think his name is buzzing right now, and I
He
think
should be.
he's gonna be in a good
Yeah,
situation.
Miami doesn't have any second round picks.
Yegor should start regardless of which other guards are on the floor. All right, when you say when you see how loose that dribble is on Yegor, I think he's gonna need another point guard next to him because I don't know, man. We'll see. Fun fact: Katie trade wouldn't work if it happened or after the draft. It can only work if they started the draft, finished, and Jalen said so. Common is a Sun Rocket. All right, Noah Noah Clowney. Who knows what Brooklyn's doing with those bigs? Sixers need a starting power forward of all the players left. Who I think is the best fit? Uh, I mean, Rasheed Fleming would be great, but I think you
But
have.
but that's why you draft Ace Bailey and maybe play PG at the four.
I mean, a wise dude with some dreads and a gold chain said that last week, but they said I was crazy. I think you start Paul George at the power forward. He makes way too much money, and I think his best defensive. Uh, I think he guards fours better than he does guard threes.
Yeah.
And granted, fours in the East are what Giannis. Obviously, you don't want those problems, regardless. Evan Mobley. I can see
Some
that being
Bam.
a matchup. Bam. Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
Bam and Ware are gonna play together.
yeah. I mean, it's situation. Maybe you go find a bigger four for those nights, but those are, a handful of nights. So,
Dang. Nets fans are brutal.
what they say?
I mean, is it me or did Diego get booed when they made the pick yesterday? I felt like there was some boos.
They might have booed. I mean,
They like Danny Wolf though. Danny Wolf was a rock star last
man,
night.
he's the king of New York, apparently.
Yeah, Danny Wolf might be the
Uh,
most popular net in basketball terms. You would have to say the most popular basketball players in New York got to be Brunson, Cat, Hart, OG, Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf, like he was literally a rock star last night.
man,
I'm
hey,
looking like in the crowd, like, dang, did LeBron walk in here? No, it was just Danny Wolf moving through the crowd.
um,
Hold on, let me say the Nets made me man. The Nets. If I'm reading this wrong, it's not that I can't read. It's not correctly. The Nets remind me the mini Flynn Rubia draft. Terrible.
yeah, or they
Translation.
just drafted 2 point guards and said figure it out. I mean, that's what the Nets basically they did it 3 times. But like I said, I just think long term Jaeger is going to end up playing like as a playmaking wing and not a point guard. I just don't really
You
buy it.
gotta be able to shoot. All right. Do you think the Mavs buying in is still a possibility? I thought it may have been last night, but that never materialized.
I had no bread to buy into the first round. Second round, I mean, you got to target a point guard, but there's only like 2 point guards left in the second
Yeah,
round.
Ryan Nimhart
Javon
would possibly
Small,
be Javon Small, but I think Javon Small is kind of like similar to what they already have. I mean,
exactly. I mean,
I
you already
think
got Brandon Williams for that.
they good with Brandon Williams, but yeah, I mean Kobe Sanders. Unless they want to go with a big guard.
But do you again shout out to Kobe Sanders? Like that team is that shot clock is ticking right now. Like you're expected to compete. You're gonna throw out two rookies and a rookie 6'8"
I
point
mean, they're
guard.
not. I mean, but they're gonna be in the. I mean, last year they had two-way guys playing.
Yeah, but I mean it's different. I don't know. We'll see. Do you guys like Will Riley's fit? The Wizards. What's your high outcome projection for him? I don't know if I like Will Riley in DC, but at the same
Why not?
time he's gonna be aggressive. I mean, they got Trey. Like I said, CJ's still gonna get shots up. I think Bilal, he started off
He
aggressively, but
started off hot.
he got hurt, and then he toned it down some. But honestly, to keep it a buck, Ralph, I think Bub is gonna have like a really, really, really big year.
Yeah,
Like
that's your
we
guy.
heard,
I mean,
we heard them talk about how much they love Bub.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a really big year. I think he is going to be the one, and maybe I want to quote me or not, but I think he's going to be the of all those young guys, and like you can't really count Trey as a chunk because it's his first year. But I think Bub is going to be like he's going to emerge as either 1A or 1B on that team. I just believe he has that much game.
Javon Smallwood is the perfect home for him. He seems like a Miami Heat guy to me, but Miami doesn't.
Um,
I think Javon Smallwood actually in an open tryout setting. I think he would outplay Akachonis.
you're not gonna get that opportunity though because they
I
drafted.
don't think Pat Riley cares. I don't think Miami cares. I mean, it was somebody was playing over Hawkins this year.
That's true. Yeah, and they weren't trying to let Jaquez and Haywood Highsmith go for Durant, so they clearly value those guys.
I mean,
Um,
Miami's a team where it seems like there's no politics. They grab you off the street. If you hooping in practice, but I never heard of Highsmith.
he's a D2 guy. My man said Mr. Broom was there for the food last night.
Hey, you know what? He was staying at the. He was. I don't know if he was staying there, but we saw him at the hotel the day before. And I'm looking at James like, did my man get a green room invite?
Man, hey man, sometimes you just want to be in the presence, man. And then when they do call your name, they do call your name. Still a great feeling. I mean, just depends on when. What's up,
Hold on, here's
y'all?
one. Yep.
Go ahead.
What's up, y'all? What were the vibes in the building last night at the Yang heard around the world? So I'll be honest, right? So James was sitting towards the right of the stage, and I was sitting in the back. So like the stage was straight ahead of me. I looked down and I seen like the green room. And if I looked to my left, ESPN had their studio with Stephen A. Smith. And then like down to my right, I saw Shams and uh and Gavoni. So I'm sitting here, and when Silver got up and he's like, Yang, no, he said whatever Yang Hansen. I'm looking like, who is that? Like, dang, it's a player that just got drafted at 16 that I've never heard of. And then once they showed his face, I was like, oh, and I was like, whoa. And the crowd was kind of like, who? Who? So I saw some of the tweets like, dang, the Grizzlies, even though he got drafted by the Grizzlies. Somebody was like, yo, man, the Grizzlies drafting dudes, drafting dudes out the nosebleeds.
Drafted fans. Yeah, I was sitting. I was
You was
sitting.
right there.
Yeah, I was right. I was like 3 rows behind Hanson, and he kept getting up. That dude is humongous, by the way. And then, I'm just sitting there. I'm on my phone because just all the stuff going on. And then I could have spoiled the draft on some Shine stuff last night. Because when you hear like the camera crew gets a heads up and they start moving in the aisle, and then obviously it was Hanson Yang and it was Rocco Zakarski. I'm like, I don't think they're coming out here for Rocco Zakarski. And yeah, he got drafted and it went nuts. And it was funny. We saw him in the hallway, and he had a little entourage building up, and I'm sure that entourage got huge once he got drafted.
Shout out to whoever was in China. Sorry, I'm eating. I'm snacking. Man, this draft day
It's hard to
very
get food
trying.
around here with all the movement
So
we gotta do.
shout out to whoever in China has been re-aggregated. I don't like aggregators. I'll just be plain. But shout out to who's ever in China who's been aggregating our stuff and translating it in Chinese
There you
because
go.
Answer Yang knew who we were.
Yeah, for sure.
He knew who we were. It's like he wanted to say what's. I mean, we all said like "What's up," but it was like "What's up?" Oh shoot, can I say anything? Is he gonna even know what I'm saying?
You know how
But
to say what's up, so
you know how to say what's up. Hanson got a little flavor to him, man.
yeah,
That's
he definitely gave
did
me
you
the
see the
brother
picture?
handshake. So
You-
I ain't the first brother hand
yeah,
he shook.
he had a little soul in the handshake. But did you see the picture where he had his hat on backwards? It was at his press conference last night, and he had the hat on backwards.
He'll figure it out soon enough. Who are you
Jalen Green
most?
is going to be the Suns franchise player in 2027.
Good luck with that, buddy.
Where Devin Booker going? Because Devin Booker's about to sign an extension.
All right, 150 of them things. Who are you most surprised with that fell out of the first round? I would say Maxime Reynaud.
Rasheer,
Yeah, well, those two, yeah, Rasheer and Reynaud.
Rasheer. Yeah, I would say those two.
Easily those two.
Who should the Wizards trade up at 43? Who should the Wizards take at 43 if they can't trade up? What do they need? I guess the center.
Wizards, yeah, you need another big.
Do you just gamble on Zakarsky? I mean, you got to think the Wizards front office comes from OKC, so you got to think what would OKC do? And I think an OKC move would be taking somebody like Zakarsky.
Yeah, but you remember at one point it was like these guys came from the Spurs front office, and then it was like, what would the Spurs do? And it just didn't work for them. I mean,
But the Thunder just won, and they stockpiled a lot of picks.
yeah, but they're not the only team that comes from that. Okay, from that
Man,
Spurs.
Will
tree.
Dawkins came directly from OKC though.
Yeah, I mean, if 43 is a Karski, why not?
All right, here's one. Hey guys, Ansis, I forgot how to pronounce his name, pulled off a heist on Joe Dumars. Bryson Graham knew they wanted Queen bad and had to give up that unprotected 2020. Yeah, man, we need to talk about that. So Bryson Graham came from the Pelicans, and
Oh,
I forgot his exact title. Sometimes a guy could be the general manager or president of basketball operations, but that doesn't mean he has final say. With that being said, I thought it was very interesting that the Pelicans and the Hawks were trade partners, considering that Bryson Graham has probably only been on the job like 3 weeks.
he was in too deep.
Yeah, so he probably went with
Jerry Reed.
who he liked. There was some chatter that um, that the Wizards really liked Ace Bailey, and then Troy Weaver, who went from, I guess he was an advisor for the Wizards to the Pelicans, had his eyes set on Bailey. But anyway, with that being said, yeah, I mean, if you're a Pelicans fan, I don't know if there's any Pelicans fans out there. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like Joe Dumars got taken advantage of?
I think it depends on. I think you have to evaluate that a year from now.
But I mean, of course, you got to evaluate this whole draft a year from now. But like, if you look
I
at
mean,
2026, so wait a minute, the Pelicans was it unprotected?
Yeah, it's unprotected. It's the better of the Bucks or whatever, the more favorable of the Bucks and the Pelicans trade. And like I said, I don't think the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks aren't gonna be top four in the East, but I don't think they're gonna be a play-in team. Like
The
Giannis is
Bucks-
about to average like 34 next year.
They're a Giannis 2-week ankle sprain away from
Giannis
being
don't
bad.
though, man. And they're gonna bring back they should bring back Tenacious. That'll just what I'm saying. Talking about the vibes, man.
No, man, that means somebody's gonna get cut, man. Can't cut Ryan Rollins or AJ Green or one
Well,
of
they
those.
have a roster spot available with Dame on IR the whole time.
Man, that still count. Love y'all pod. Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, this is this is today. I'm gonna do this one, and then after the draft, it'll be my last pot with Locked On. Follow me on Twitter to find out what's next. So make sure you follow me on Twitter, and I'll let you guys know what is next. But James will still be here. But yeah, this I mean, I'll let you guys know once I get everything ironed out with the next step.
Who
Thank
should
you
the
guys.
Raptors target at 39? A shooter.
A shooter, Kobe Bryant, Chaz Lanier. If they leave this draft without a shooter, or if one of the bigs are available, if Reynold's available still, you take him. If Kalkbrenner's available, you take him. Um, if you believe in your developmental staff, the same developmental staff you know that basically transformed Siakam and Fred Van Vliet and all those guys, man, then you got to go with Zakarsky. You got to
Uh,
go with Zakarsky.
excuse me. What's your pick for OKC in the second round? If I'm a player and OKC calls me, I'm like,
Dang, I'm gonna be with the Oklahoma
scam
City
likely.
Blue. Yeah,
Scam likely. I can't pick this phone call up.
yeah. If the
But
Thunder call you, you got to be happy, but you just got to be like, man, I'm gonna be playing in the G League.
yeah. But if somebody does accept the phone call, OKC, I would try to accumulate a wing talent. I
But
like
here's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like Hunter Salas. Uh, Again, eventually you're gonna have to pay those guys, and you're gonna need cheap contracts. I do like Hunter Salas. I do think the 3-point shooting will improve. And he's just a basketball player. He's a shoot. He's a pass, dribble, shoot guy, not just a corner guy. And, Oklahoma City plays the only corner guy that they play is Jordan. He's out there with football pads on. So.
All right. Dang, I was about to say something. Mike Jones, man, update your. Mike Jones got to update his app. He says great offseason by the Hawks, getting Porzingis and Queen.
Yeah, Queen is not going to Atlanta until they play the Pelicans.
Yeah.
NCAA needs to give James Barlowe half of that signing bonus. I mean, I wouldn't say all that, man. It's just,
I'll take it. I'll take
I'd
it.
take it though.
Yeah, I'll take it, man. Because I really want a Porsche 911 Targa.
Wolves did their job. If someone offers up a lotto protected for first for 31, take it. A lottery protected first. You know what? Unless it's a salary cap thing, I still would take Rasheed Fleming if I was Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would still do it.
So here's one thing I want to add that's going on that I don't think a lot of people know. I've had a team reach out to me to reach out to a player's agency just to see where he stood. And as a player, he's projected to go in the second round. But what he told me to tell the team is that, of course, he wants to be drafted. He wants to hear his name called, but he wants to go to a situation where he's going to get a guaranteed contract and a roster spot. He doesn't want to go to a situation where they're only offering two-way contracts, right? So I don't know what it's going to be this year, but maybe around pick 35, that's when teams are going to say, hey, we're only offering two-way contracts. So there are some guys that makes it's going to look like they slipped and fell in the draft, but it's because their agent is saying, no, don't take us because we don't want a two-way contract. We want a guaranteed contract. And it could be a team, it could be a guy that is projected to go, or he may get a call at 33, but his agent wants him to go to 46. I'm just throwing out numbers because that team said they'll roster the player, give him a guaranteed contract. Because if you're a second round pick, you're not guaranteed a roster spot. So one of the things that you're going to see is that you're going to see a lot of maneuver. You're going to see a lot of trades, and that's because some teams are going to probably move down, and some teams are going to move up because there's a guy that they may target that they want to roster as opposed to put on a two-way deal.
All right, I got one for you, Rock. I'm gonna answer this one. Would you say the G League Ignite experiment is a failure? All right. So what if I told you the University
Two ways to
of
look at
huh?
that. I said there's two ways to look at that.
I'm gonna give you the positive. All right. Where did Jesus Shuttlesworth go to? Big State. All right. So what if Big State University had player go number 11, Matas Mazelis. And then they had another player, start for a team that went to 7 games against a championship caliber, I guess, whatever team. Jalen Green. Whatever you think about Jalen Green is making money. And then Jonathan Kuminga. Everybody thinks he's a bad player, this, that, and the other. Jonathan Kuminga averaged 16 and 5. He's got his warts, but he averaged 16. Then Big State University had Ron Holland go number 5. You know what I'm saying? And then who else do they have? Tyler Smith was drafted.
Beauchamp was drafted. Dyson Daniels was drafted.
Dyson Daniels was.
I mean, their job was to get guys in the NBA. So if it were like James was saying, if Big State had all those alums, and everybody said, "Oh man, what a great program! What a great coach! He's a hell of a recruiter."
Exactly. And you would say, and the Big State coach would be all over on social media talking about, "Look at my guys."
Yeah,
I got drafted.
If they had a facility when they bring guys in to recruit, they'd have every picture blown up all on the wall with their guys in the last few years shaking Adam Silver's hands. Think about a school like Baylor. The G League Ignite has put out more draft picks than Baylor in the last 5 years. So I think that they did their job. I mean, I guess people thought the guys would be more prepared and so on.
I mean, were they not prepared? Like, I mean, I don't necessarily. I know a lot of people think that the G League was just a circus show, but guys are talented. Like Dyson Daniels.
We forgot Scoop.
Scoop was a 3rd pick in the draft. Like,
yeah.
I just don't want people to think that they didn't have any structure and they didn't have any fundamentals. They were a team of 18-year-olds playing against grown men, right? Like, you're not gonna win games.
So my thought is the only thing I didn't like about the Ignite situation were there was no, and I talked about this all last year or 2 years ago with Scoot, why I kind of fell off on Scoot as a prospect, because the Ignite had no incentive to win games. So yes, guys were playing against pros and so on, but it's hard to evaluate guys when they don't have to win.
Yeah.
Like the program's plan is to keep their draft stock. So on one hand, you can say the coach would be getting praise for his ability to recruit, but on the other hand, the coach would be definitely on the hot seat
for sure.
Basketball if they weren't winning. But that was the only thing. I think they should have. I would have kept the program, but I would have done something to where there was some incentive to win.
We did this on the podcast before. I would have mirrored the what's it called, the Rising Stars program that they have in the Australian League, and instead of
I don't like that.
Well, I mean, Kareem Lopez should be a top. Kareem Lopez is legit good, and he got some burn.
But who else has it worked out for?
LaMelo Ball.
I guess you can say LaMelo and Sarr.
LaMelo, Sarr.
RJ Hampton didn't work out for him.
I don't think RJ Hampton. I mean, and here's the thing about that though. Like, I don't necessarily think it's the university or the program. Like if RJ Hampton would have went to Kansas, like I think he originally committed to, there's no guarantee that he'd be still playing right now.
That's true, but I think with the NBL, it's kind of tricky because you look at Zakarsky, coach trying to win games.
Josh Giddey
lost faith in him, so he didn't play. So I think it can be tricky because the thing about with the NBL, they're like putting guys on the roster. So the coach wants to win, so he may not trust.
It worked out for AJ Johnson.
He may not. It worked out, but it didn't work out. They literally fired the coach because he wasn't playing them.
All I'm saying is this: if you take the G League Ignite program and put them in the Pac-25, they're a really good team. You put them in the G League, they're not a good team because there's a huge difference between the talent of a high major program and a G League program. Like, let's talk about guys are pros. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
Talk about Yakachonis. So we're like 25 minutes behind on the comments. Mike Jones. Surprised Mike Jones hasn't been up to his normal hating self. Probably too early in the day. Mike Jones started hating when the moon come out.
Mike Jones, you about to be a Utah Jazz fan? You got some gear?
Right.
What is they saying?
I'm gonna look on. I don't even know what Mike Jones looked like because he got a picture of LeBron, but I'm gonna see if Mike Jones is getting off that private jet when Ace landed in Utah for his press conference. But anyway, Kaspar's falling in the 20s was absurd. I don't think so. I don't think Yakachon falling was all that surprising. I think he was more liked on the internet than in real life. Because if you think about like his last four games, he averaged like 6 turnovers a game. He had multiple games. I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 games this year where he had more turnovers than made field goals. And so I know like the internet loved him, but I think he's a guy that the NBA scouts weren't as in love with. And I feel like I can say the same for Jace Richardson. The internet loved Jace Richardson.
I think Jace Richardson is going to be better than where he was drafted.
The guy that the internet loved, they were right about, was Colin Murray Boyles.
Yeah, shout out to the internet.
Hold on, I gotta answer this one. This is a statement from Mike Jones, and I guarantee you this is a very unpopular statement. Mike Jones says the Brooklyn Nets won the draft. I don't know how many tweets I got today from people saying how much they hated the Nets draft. I mean, we see somebody out in the concourse that was complaining about the Nets draft. It's not popular. It's definitely. I mean, they were getting their first pick was getting booed.
Do you think Common will surpass Clint Capella in terms of caliber player winning impact? Clint Capella played on some really good teams.
Yeah, but I think it depends on who his point guard is. Capella benefited from James Harden.
Yep.
And Trae Young.
That's very
I wonder
true.
what Capella looks like if he goes to another team. If he's not playing with Luka Doncic.
What you mean? You think the Bradley Beal led offense in Phoenix is gonna get Common Malawach his touches? Like they better get a point guard in there soon.
That's what I'm saying though. But
I think Devin Booker can pass, but he's not a point guard.
Yeah. So if I'm Capella, I'm just trying to get to the Lakers. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get to Lakers. If he plays with Doncic, Harden, and Trae Young, you talk about a guy that just made a hell of a career off just being with the right guy. Hold on. I got to answer this one.
Wait.
Kaspar's is the new Dragic in Miami.
That's a European
comparison. Goran Dragic had a crazy first step. Goran Dragic was getting to the cup.
Goran Dragic had what, 19 and a quarter against the
Goran
Spurs?
Dragic was black. That comparison would not be made.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
What do you think of Hanson Yang to Portland? We talked about that. We big Hanson Yang fans, man. We've been driving the Yang bus with Yanksters.
I'm a Yang
part of the Yang gang, but I just did an interview with a Portland station today, and I have no. They're like, "What is this successful season for Hanson Yang?" I'm like, getting on the court. I don't know how he gets on the floor, because if you want to move off from Ayton, you got to showcase him. You got to play him.
You don't need to showcase Ayton.
Yeah, but if you're not playing him, then you're not gonna. I think he's already difficult to trade for. But once you bench him, and then all the chatter is gonna be about him not playing, and the camera gonna be panning on him every game. Either if he's smiling, it's gonna be like, oh, he doesn't care. If he's
do you think Ayton cares?
I'm just saying, like, if they bench Ayton, and let's just talk about the media. If they bench Ayton, and they pan the camera on him, if he's laughing with teammates, even just being a good teammate, they can say, see, he doesn't care. Man. He doesn't care about it at all.
Listen, that train is already, or that word is already out on DeAndre.
Yeah, but you got to.
They went to get that man out of a snowstorm. They went to his house to get him, and he didn't go back.
I mean, he's talented enough for somebody to take a gamble on him.
He's very talented. And, you know, if I'm the Lakers, I'm like, what does it take? I don't know. He's not. I don't think you don't draft Hanson Yang at 16 to have him as your third center. Eventually, he's gonna break through.
Ian Jackson, if he would have went back, if he would have stayed in the draft, I don't think he would have got drafted in the first round.
He would have what?
I don't think he would have got drafted. Mike Jones is saying that Ian would have went higher than Mike Jones, like bucket getters.
I like bucket getters too, but Ian Jackson doesn't pass and he doesn't really defend.
Mike Jones' two favorite players in this draft don't pass the ball. But Ian had like a streak where he was like crazy good. I don't know if teams figured him out. I don't know what it was, but
North Carolina was in shambles too. But shout out to Drake Powell. Hey, listeners, viewers, whatever. I told y'all Drake Powell there shouldn't have been a huge gap between Drake Powell and Carter Bryant, and they went 8 spots apart from each other.
That's because Carter Bryant,
You
people
know,
like the physical tools.
but I mean, at the same time, I don't. We can get into all of that later. But I told y'all Drake Powell was a first round pick, and he went 22, and to keep it a buck, he might be their best rookie next year because I think he has more game than what he got to show at North Carolina. And we know he's going to defend at a high level. Uh, yeah,
But that's the same thing people said about what's my man's name, Derek Whitehead, a couple years ago.
yeah, but he ain't had no legs though.
I didn't like the Mark Williams trade. They relied on the guy that averaged 32 games a season and was ranked 486th in defensive EPM.
I feel you, big dog.
Hey man, I was at the game where Mark Williams looked phenomenal, but Moses Brown
Brown looked phenomenal.
Moses Brown
Phenomenal
looked
Earth.
he had Moses Brown looking like Moses Malone.
Who should the Knicks draft at 50? Chaz Lanier, if he's available. Kobe Bryant. I think you need to get some more movement. The Knicks need a coach.
I know that's what they need.
They need a coach.
Hey, you know what, man? I said this on a podcast. The Knicks firing Tibbs and going after coaches under contract is literally like me moving out of my house and knocking on neighbors' doors like, hey, can I buy this crib from you?
Right.
Can I buy it from you?
Yeah.
No, the house not for sale. I mean, I got money. Can I buy it from you? And they like, nah.
Dudes be doing that to me though. They be calling me about my house. I'm like, man, get out of my face. If you show enough promise on OKC, you can beat out some guys. Their coaching staff isn't scared to play rookies. I agree. In this situation, they did find minutes for AJ Mitchell, but like their guys don't get hurt, and Chet obviously gets hurt, but like SGA, Jalen Williams, those guys are gonna play. And then
Jalen Williams, I feel like he showed potential. Jalen Williams is
yeah. The one that looked like the streamer, yeah. But he can't crack the rotation.
Can't get in the rotation.
Yeah.
Usman Jang is a guy that
can't make
like his window was so small that it's like they got your replacement coming in. Like I feel like you got a very small window with OKC. You got to perform, and if you don't, you got to think they got 8 other draft picks coming in. So I think on one hand, I get what you're saying, but on the other hand, I think it can be a tough spot because they were trying to win the last couple of years. You just don't have a lot of room. You really got to be ready. You got to be ready. Let me read generational hater. Who's that on this AV? Is that? I can't see it. Windhorse. We just saw Windhorse. He just
shout out to Brian Windhorse. What days can my Lakers get at 45?
Hey man, I had a reply to a tweet that went viral. I saw myself on like all these different, I don't know, just memes or whatever, and someone asked me that, and I was like, pray Yannick Conan Niederhauser is available, and he wasn't. So I don't know.
So Lakers bigs. I don't think Kalkbrenner is going to be there. You have to move up again. I don't think Reyno is going to be there unless you try to move up again. Maybe Rocco Zakarski's there, but I don't know if he's a Luka big. He's big, but I mean, I don't know what you're going to do, Lakers. Lakers are moving Reeves and Rui for a center.
Bob Myers just walked by me. I guess the ESPN.
Oh yeah,
they set up. Yeah.
Tell him I said what's up.
What up, Bob Myers?
On
the phone. I'm gonna read this one. Windhorse said some agents were talking bleep about the Nets draft pick, saying, "I bet all those two-way guys they played this year will be better than the rookies they tanked for." That would be bad.
Yeah, that would be very bad.
Even worse is that they did a web series about the process. James and I were at the combine, and the director scouting for a team was telling us how he thought the Nets web series scout was just bad. And I liked it. I mean, I thought it was very intriguing, but he was saying that he thought it was bad because it puts pressure on one, it puts pressure on teams to do the same. He's like, the owner maybe say, "Oh yeah, I love this, visibility. I love this attention. We should do our own." And he was like, from a scouting department, you don't, you don't want that. You don't want cameras following you around. You don't want them to know what games you're going to. And for me, because this is what I do. When I saw the series, I knew exactly who they were going to see because I've been to some of those arenas. Like there was one arena, I was like, oh yeah, they're going to go see Hugo Gonzalez. Like they didn't show his face, they didn't show anything, but I knew the arena in Madrid. There was another one where I saw the
There's
crowd. I've been there before. It was Paris. There was another one. I was like, oh, they're going to go see Traore because I've been to that arena in San Quentin, or however you say that. So I think it puts a lot of pressure on them that they had this web series or whatever, and then if their picks don't like pan out, then it could be a bad look. But if they do pan out, then it's
man.
like, I mean, you talk about the Chiefs.
You have a bad draft with 5 first-round picks and keep your job.
But you gotta think about it though, right? So, how many of their picks were after 19?
3.
Historically, like
Yeah, that's
those are
true.
the guys that usually, like, if you go back and look at past drafts, picks 20 through 30, you may find 3 guys per class that stick. So they really like had a bunch of draft capital in the range in the first round where the guys are like, I mean, like extremely hit and miss.
Yeah, Brooklyn knows exactly what they're doing, and it's an exiting project. If you don't know European basketball strategy, you can't understand. I mean, that's cool, but this is the NBA, man. This is not Europe. And my only issue is I don't Traore, and I like the Traore pick. Jaeger 8, yeah, I wouldn't have done it, but Jaeger and Traore, cool. But Ben Saraf is kind of like, all right, maybe I wouldn't have done that. Then, but at the same time, like, okay, well, who would you have taken instead of them? So, I mean, I understand. You just throw some darts and figure out who's gonna stick. But
All right, here's one. Which player do you see going back to Europe first because they can't hang in the NBA?
you answer that when I saw that question.
Denim, or is he supposed to be Demon, Trayor, or Seraph? Well, let me answer this way. I am not going to answer that. Every time I've done a live stream, somebody has clipped up the live stream and taken what I've said and it gets aggregated. So it's been like 3 radio stations that I've done interviews for that have done the same thing. Like somebody asked me yesterday, live on the air, who do I think is going to be a bust? I replied, like, I'm not going to answer that because I got to literally see these players and their families in a few hours, and I don't want to be aggregated. So with that being said, the last thing I'm going to do is say player A is going to be a bust. Someone clips it up and it goes viral. I don't want to say like I've made it, but I feel like, dang, I'm at the point where anything I say can be taken out of context and
That's
go viral.
chill.
Like, I
I can
forgot.
still say what I want though.
I mean, it
I'm
can go
not.
viral. I said something like, yeah, these teams A or B are teams that are looking to move up. And it wasn't like I said anything like groundbreaking. Wake up and it's just like Barlow 500 said Team X is looking to move up in the first round. And then it was just like, I know the team's coaching staff and the people that follow me from the front office saw it. I'm like, dang, I did say it, but it the way it appeared as if like, I don't know, like I was
Somebody said something though. It's a good point. The Nets are going to be competing for the number one pick next year. I don't mind volume shooting for potential trade. I do agree. If nothing else, these youngsters are going to put you in a position to be here again next year in 2026. So
speaking of that, I wasn't at USA basketball, but I'm on my way to Switzerland tomorrow to go check out the U19 team. So follow me on Twitter so you can find out all my info because this is my last NBA Big Board podcast. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going somewhere. I just gotta figure that out. A college coach told me, he says AJ Cabansta is wasting his time. He said the way he looked at the U19 trials in Colorado, He said he was way better than everyone else. He said he's better than Cooper Flag. He said he'd be the number one player in this draft. And I said, I did a podcast a few months back saying I thought that maybe he was bored in high school. He was like, the way that he looked at the trials, he said that makes sense. He said he should put this is a college coach, a head college coach. He said that AJ should do a petition to skip college and be the number one pick in this draft. But he said the problem is BYU paid him too much money, so he got to go. But
Man, but the same. I mean, I get that, but at the same
yeah, they
time,
paid him make what 7, but he'll make what did it say? Cooper's gonna make 60.
yeah.
So yeah, I would lose 7 for 60.
But at the same time, like if I'm Darren Peterson, I'm like, I had 60 on
But
AJ.
it kind of makes sense. So they're saying like, yeah,
I'm
he was.
cold too. I'm nice too. Like
Yeah,
I'm not giving him the number one pick. But team probably gonna lean AJ because he's 6'10".
Oh, we got breaking news.
Breaking
The
news.
Phoenix Suns are trading the numbers 52 and 59 picks to the Golden State Warriors for number 41. Who do you think the Warriors should take at 41? Do you think they should go after big? Like, what are their needs in your opinion?
I think they need wings. I like Hunter Salas at 41. I like
I
Jameer
think they're going to lose
Washington.
Kaminga.
I feel like you're gonna lose Kaminga. I think Gary Payton the second. We figured that out. He's always hurt with something. He got like bad abs or something. And I think you need another wing because at the same time, like if you're gonna lose Kaminga, right, you're still very reliant on obviously Steph and Jimmy Butler, but you need somebody who can play a role, but also maybe get a little bit of their own. I think, and I do think. I mean, while they're not the best off the ball shooters, I think Hunter can get his own a little bit. We know he's going to compete. We know he's going to defend. Maybe Steph can rub some magic on him and he can knock down these corner threes. But I feel like he would be a guy that would work in Golden State.
All right, here's one. Should the Hawks trade Okongwu for Austin Reeves if Lakers can't get a deal done? And do you like Reeves and Young together?
Man, that's barbecue chicken on defense right there, buddy. Porzingis ain't gonna be able to hold up trying to keep them dudes
Oh
from
my
getting
God.
scored on.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. Yes, you traded for Porzingis, but
We'll get to John Tanji, Dougie.
do you think Porzingis is going to hold up for an entire season? So
No.
if you trade Okongwu and Porzingis goes down, which historically it says he will, then Asa Newell's your 5.
And then now you got to find that. Yeah, nah, I can't do that.
Yo, these Nets comments are just all over the place. Hoping
Right.
that Jazz get Dink Pate or Kobe Sanders at 53, getting a forward with passing vision would be nice. Yes, they just how many forwards do the Jazz have?
They got a bunch of everything though,
Yeah.
except for wins. Ralph, let's
Yeah.
address this John Tanji. I know you got some information about John Tanji. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I've heard John Tanji has been killing in workouts. It's 2 guys that I've heard that have been killing in workouts, and teams are kind of like, what do we do with this? John
Suns got the
Tanji,
41 pick. I'm sorry, 41 to the Suns, 52 and 59 go to the Warriors. So
Shams, he retweeted.
nah,
Change it.
I follow some other people, and they say Suns get 41, Warriors get 52 and 59. But go ahead about Tanji.
The Suns are trading 52 and 59 to the Warriors.
To the Warriors, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Who should Warriors take at 41?
No, the Warriors not going to 41. The Warriors are 52.
The Suns are trading 52 and 59 to the Warriors. Okay, all right. Yeah, I've heard John Tanji and Arthur Kaluma have been like killing in workouts. And I had someone tell me like about Kaluma and even Tanji. They were like, they're killing guys, but they should be because they're older, and some of the guys that they were going against were 18 and 19 years old. So it's kind of like you're in a no-win situation. If you dominate, people are like, well, I mean, you should. You're 23, you're 24, and the guy that you're playing against has only played 30 games of college basketball.
He might still be growing.
If they don't dominate, then it looks bad. So I had a a coach who was at one of the workouts tell me like these guys should be in the NBA already, but our front office isn't impressed with them because they're doing what they are supposed to do. And I got, I got a bunch of agents, not agents, I'm sorry, trainers who hit me up all the time. Oh, watch my guy, man. My guy is this. My guy gonna be a first round pick. And I tell them like, look, if your guy is a senior, he better dominate. I mean, Maxime Reynaud dominated statistically, and he wasn't a first round pick. Trace Jackson Davis statistically dominated, and he was a
John
late.
I. Broome was the second
Yeah, so it's like
most outstanding player, and somebody in the chat said he was there for the food last night. So
let's talk about this green room. This second round green room. Now the draft is 1 hour away. There's nobody here.
Like, yeah, we gotta find out this location, man.
There's absolutely nobody here. It is an hour away. I don't even know where the draft is gonna be at.
That joint is in a bunker, man.
I have no idea. The question is, so you don't think Tanji has any upside? I mean, I'm from Omaha, so I'm very familiar with Tanji. One of the things that I've heard is that one, he's older. I think he's already 24, and he's had one like NBA level year out of 5 in college. So with that being said, I think he can help a team, but you know what I mean? Like he's in a no-win situation because if he dominates workouts, he's supposed to because he's older. If he doesn't, then it's a bad look. Yeah, man, look, you can look behind me.
That joint don't look like anything going on.
It said the Barclays, man.
Man, it is the Barclays because I'm in here in the media room and there's media here. I mean, there's a few people here. They got some food for us. So.
Yeah, man, those cookies look good. Save me one. The Knicks, the streets are buzzing. I like Bryce Williams. I like Bryce Williams too, but I think Bryce falls in that same situation. He had a really good year. I mean, he was efficient from the floor, but he's at least 23 and it's like you're expected. Like you have like no wiggle room when you're 23. We were 3 hours into the draft yesterday, and they were only at pick 22. I feel like they were moving a little bit slower just because they didn't have to cram 2 days into it. But I will tell you this much: this is my second draft being here, and by the time I got back to my hotel room, it was 3:41 a.m. Sacrificed the night of sleep to give y'all some content.
Man,
the Mavs should trade back in late for Kobe Bryant. They need some shooting. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. If I'm Dallas, I honestly would look at Ryan Nembhard. You got enough guys on that team that want to score and get buckets, so you might as well just get somebody who's looking to pass first, pass second, and get the guys the ball. All right, we can go for about 8 more minutes. Why aren't more people talking about Bogoju Markovic, Rafael? It's because they don't know him. I mean, like I hear people talk draft all the time, and I've seen Bogey play in person twice. I like him a lot, but I think more people aren't talking about him because let's be honest, how many people are really watching like Serbian basketball at 11 in the morning? So I don't think a lot of people are familiar with him. Very talented. Kind of like a jack of all. Well, I would say prior to this year, I would say he's a jack of all trades, master of none. But he shot about 38% from 3. He can pass. He's gotten stronger. When I first saw him, he was skinny, like hula hoop to a Cheerio skinny. But he's gotten bigger, so I like his game. Plenty of centers left. Let's see. New pod, where y'all going? I haven't figured it out yet. It might be. I don't want to jinx it. Yeah, I mean, just stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter, Barlowe500, and I'll make the announcement there. I mean, yeah, follow me on Twitter. I'll make the answer there. Isaiah says, I hate being a Pelicans fan. James likes them.
You might not be all that bad, man.
Man, I can tell you what. The Zion, Derek Queen jokes are going to be legendary on social media if they don't win. Did the docuseries tell Portland exactly how far back they could trade back for Hansen? I don't get the question.
Docuseries.
Talking about the Nets.
Oh, I don't think they mentioned him.
They did. I didn't see him in there. Hey,
He
did you
wasn't
guys
gonna.
see that video that the Portland Trailblazers put out of Hanson Yang in their workout right after he got drafted?
Mm.
Of course, video is video. It can be chopped up. It can be edited. It can only show you the makes. But Hanson Yang looked like he was punishing guys. And here's the thing that I think about Yang killing guys in workouts. How many like American bigs are used to defending somebody getting the ball in the post? You know what I mean? Like, how many guys have they had to guard in AAU, whatever, that is getting post feeds and post touches, and they have to defend them?
In that video yesterday that they released, that was Ace Newell out there. He was getting moved.
Rasheer,
Rasheer Fleming, he was getting moved. Those guys are like, those are what our American bigs look like. They're just too skinny right now.
and even if
So,
they are, think about it. Like, who are you guarding? Whether it's high school AAU, that they're getting the ball in the post. And if they do have post game, unfortunately, a lot of guys are like 6'7", 250.
or you're
I
John
think it's
Broom and you can't jump over a sheet of paper.
yeah, I just think it's kind of like it's throwing guys for a loop because they're really not used to like defending somebody that's getting the ball on the posts and that has work on the block.
I want to see, man. I need to look at the summer league schedule. I hope that we get a Blazers Pelicans game, man.
Man, man, summer league is gonna be it's gonna be deep.
Crazy.
Or do you think there's a chance for Almanza? Almanza. You talk about a guy that had top 5, top 10 buzz, and you can't even say it was the Ignite because he went to Australia. I mean, his buzz is gone.
And that's why I'm saying you can't blame the Ignite.
He Almanza might have or another trade. The Minnesota Timberwolves are trading their first pick in tonight's NBA draft, number 31, to Phoenix for number 36.
Rasheer Fleming.
So you're saying Rasheer? Oh, yeah, I was about to say they can't go with Kalkbrenner. So that yeah.
This guy,
But
they need.
Minnesota
They
are
don't have
trading.
before.
So the Suns are picking. So the way the Suns continues to rebuild by moving up to 31 and 41. Phoenix not playing. Yeah, but like, all right. So you got Iguodaro. I think Ryan Dunn to me is a 4. Iguodaro. Yeah, you got to go with Rasheer Fleming. You got to get some shooting. You have to get some shooting in the front court. Because how many guys in their front court can make a shot outside the paint? Opinion on Grant Nelson? Have you ever seen a Chrysler 300 and you thought it was a Bentley? Have you ever seen? I forgot what car it was.
Hey, but you know what?
No, here's one. Here's a good one. Have you ever seen somebody that has a regular Jeep, but they put the Track Hawk kit on it? You ever seen a Camaro with the hubcap rims? Grant Nelson has everything except a jumper. I'm still mad at that one game he took 18 threes. But
Wow.
Grant Nelson can handle, he can pass, he's athletic. I mean, he's super athletic. He has first round skill. He just hasn't been able to consistently put it together.
I will say this real quick, Rob. And it's hindsight.
Or then somebody said, or the new Genesis. Yo,
Genesis is
I know a guy. I know a very, very
Some
rich man.
wings.
He's rich. I mean, like rich. Drives Phantoms and Rolls Royce. And he was like, "Man, Rafael, out of all the cars I got, none of them are better than that Honda Genesis or Hyundai Genesis." But he was like, "It just don't got the same appeal." And this is a man that drives a Cullinan.
Hey, but listen to me, Rob. What is hindsight? Yes, they went back to school and made some bread, but you'd have to think one of Darren Philon, and again, hindsight, you see everything, but one of Darren Philon, Todd Pettiford would absolutely be the first pick of the Suns right now and have an opportunity to like start if they were available. You know what I'm saying? Because
breaking news.
Point guard.
Sham just said that the Suns are targeting who we talked about, Rasheer Fleming.
Told you. So yeah, all that Rasheer Fleming, the 35. Nah, buddy. That man is on the plane right now.
Well, guys, I want to wrap up this live stream.
I gotta
I
eat.
appreciate it.
Hold
James,
on, real quick. How you feel about Cam Jones? Man, I don't like Cam Jones' athleticism, man. I think his feet are slow. I don't think he can jump.
but
He really didn't have no
he excelled in
bounce.
two different roles. He excelled as a scorer. He was Marquette's leading scorer in the team that had two guys drafted. And this year he was I mean he averaged like 6 assists per game and he didn't turn the ball over.
I just don't like his athleticism.
And that could be the reason why he falls. He could be the guy that people are like, man, I don't like the way he moves. I don't like his athleticism. And he surprisingly has a solid career.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I couldn't be wrong. I just don't like how he moves on either end of the floor. Like he can't jump, and then
Hey,
on defense, how they move. But go ahead, Ron.
hey guys, I'm a little worried, man. The draft starts in 1 hour.
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm looking down at my phone trying to get an email for a location. It just says Barclay. Man, it's probably one of these suites, man.
Man, I mean, but look, I'm here. There's like nobody here.
Man, Windhorse is here. Is here.
Windhorse is here, but I mean, dang, maybe they should have had it at that ballroom in the hotel.
They joined outside in Target.
Shout out to Tomas Canerio. Thank you, James Rafael Love from Portugal, man. Salute to you. Salute to you. All right, guys, we got to run. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Follow me again. Follow me on Twitter, Barlow 500. I feel like Dr. Umar Johnson. Keep telling me. Follow me, but stay tuned for my next move. But we'll be back on. We'll be back on right after the draft. But also after the draft, I'm heading to Switzerland. I'll be there for the U19s, and so
You'll see us two together. We just figuring some other stuff out.
we just figured some stuff out. All right, y'all.